Hello and welcome to Sideline Story, your destination for sports news, analysis and discussions. I'm Yang Guang. This week we look back at the year of 2025 in sports. What's the best sporting story in the past year? Who should be the athletes of the year? To unpack the questions, I'm joined here with my fantastic co-hosts Tian Yu and Brandon Yates. All right, time is ticking for 2026. As a tradition now, it's our time to review the past year in the sports universe. Let's get it underway, flashing back to those iconic moments in sports that stopped us in our tracks. We are talking about that one play, one gesture, one race where time seemed to freeze. And that kind of moment, you remember exactly where you were when you saw it in 2025. So, Tian Yu, what's such sporting moment for you in the past year?
Well, if I had to pick one moment, I will start with something I actually saw with my own eyes. This February, you and I, we went to Harbin for the Asian Winter Games. It was my first time ever watching ice sports live. It was way more intense than I expected. One of the events we watched was the short track speed skating. I think it was one of the most exciting, most brutal events of the whole tournament. We were at the final of the 2,000-meter mixed relay, an event China was traditionally very good at. During the race, Fan Kexing pulled off an amazing overtake. She pushed China into the lead. We held that position almost all the way until the last two laps. It was exactly when our star skater Lin Xiaojing slipped and fell. Just like that, we lost the lead to South Korea, and eventually we lost the gold and even the chance to stand on the podium. And I still remember that moment very clearly because the second Lin fell, it went completely silent.
Yeah, dead silence. I remember that.
Yeah, it was like library silence. And you could really feel the pressure Lin was going through at that time. But what made that day really unforgettable for us was that we managed to see what happened next because Lin somehow just shook everything off. He just came back later in the 500-meter final where he put up a brilliant show and won a gold medal. It was an emotional roller coaster. We've witnessed he going from the peak to the crash and then straight up to the top again. So it was really happening all in one day and right in front of us. So I think that's why that moment really stuck with me for all the time. Apart from that, as a Real Madrid fan, I have to be honest, 2 free kicks from Declan Rice in the Champions League quarterfinals between Arsenal and Real Madrid. Honestly, those 2 goals were probably the best goals I've ever seen in years. The curves, the angles, they were just, perfect. Though painful as a Real Madrid fan to watch that, I've got to say I'm really impressed by the 2 goals in the Champions League.
Yeah, Rice's 2 goals are just iconic. I believe Arsenal fans and Real fans won't forget those 2 free kicks. Very beautiful. And for the Lin Xiaojing case, I was thrilled to watch that race. But I guess for fans watching from TV, they won't be that excited like us. That's the beauty of sports. You have to, watch the sports live to feel the vibe and atmosphere inside the arena. It's just crazy. Beautiful. So, Brandon, what for you was the single most iconic and emotionally resonant sports moment in 2025, and why did it cut the noise and define the year?
As sports fans, looking back on the sporting year and picking one moment that stood out and captured the globe's attention, I think is pretty much impossible. I think for true sports fans, I think it can be quite personal. So I'm going to keep it quite personal. I'm also going to kind of keep it to moments that either really left an imprint on my mind that will probably last for quite some time, and some moments that I managed to experience for myself in person. As you guys know, I'm a massive Springboks fan, the South African national rugby team, and 2025 was another phenomenal year. It just, there's very few great things going on in South Africa. As you guys know, we've got immense poverty and crime, and even though I love my country, we do have a lot of problems. But wow, the Springboks are really something that we can be incredibly proud of on a global stage, including the city of Cape Town. Where I'm from, it's definitely one of the most beautiful cities in the world. But wow, the Springboks had an incredible year. They won the rugby championship. They finished the year as the top ranked team in the world for the third consecutive year in a row. We beat our rivals, the All Blacks in New Zealand, with a historic victory. So it's the biggest loss that New Zealand have suffered in their entire history, which dates back over 100 years. And we finished our end of year tour to Europe, which we do every single year, unbeaten, including a very rare victory over Ireland in Dublin, which is quite a new rival team. Phenomenal year for the Springboks, just watching them from home and also going to, fortunately enough, watch the Springboks twice live in Cape Town, once against the invitational side, the Barbarians, and then again against Australia, and we won both those games. So it's always nice to attend live sporting games where your team wins. So
Yeah.
yeah, a very good year for me as a Springbok fan. And then the Springbok Sevens team has also had a fantastic year where that they've won a couple of competitions, but the most memorable for me is that the Sevens circuit is normally like week-long competitions that moves from country to country. So for example, the USA leg is in Las Vegas. There's one in Dubai. And a couple of other countries, but the South African leg of the Sevens tour takes place in Cape Town, and you'll get all of the best Sevens rugby teams from around the world competing for the Cape Town Sevens title. It's a competition where South Africa have struggled. So we won it last year, but before that, I don't think we had won it for like 9 years or 10 years or something on home soil, which is a very, very long time. If I'm not mistaken, we had never defended the title. And we got to the final this year, and it was against Argentina. And it was a very, very tight match. I mean, at a stage, Argentina were leading 19-7. And I was in the stands with my mom, and we thought that we were going to, book these tickets and watch the event live in person to only watch our team lose. It was really looking dire. And then in the last 30 seconds, we managed to score a winning try that also needed to be converted. So we ended up winning the final 21-19. But also before that final whistle went, we kicked off to Argentina and they collected the kickoff. And for the last 30 seconds after regular time had been played, they had the ball and it really looked like they were going to score. And then one of our best players, Ricky Duarte, managed to get over the ball and steal it and just win it in such dramatic fashion. And I don't think I've yelled that loudly in a stadium. I've definitely yelled at the TV that loudly before, but not in a stadium in person for such a long time. So to win it in such a dramatic fashion on home turf, literally a couple of meters from our house, we could literally walk to the stadium. That was probably the most incredible live sporting moment for me.
For me, the most powerful, sporting moment came from the Chinese men's national basketball team at Asian Cup in 2025. After a dream run to reach the final against Australia, and the title hung in the balance in the final seconds, trailing by just 1 point with 4 seconds, less than 4 seconds left. Team China got the ball possession, and the Chinese guard caught the ball beyond the arc, made a pump fake, and created space, launched a potential game-winning and title-winning three. The arena held its breath. I held my breath. Unfortunately, the ball fell short, and the Team China lost the final. But what followed defined that moment. Instead of disappointment, Team China coach Guo Shiqiang met Hu with a firm and smiling embrace. I mean, I would call it the ultimate acknowledgement for a player. No blame, no regrets, no tears, but just the shared efforts and the pride from the head coach. In that moment, I realized, okay, this is a unified team rather than, a dozen individuals. And that hug, amid heartbreak from the whole team and the whole country, really embodied the pure sportsmanship I cherish. A true testament to fighting together, leaving everything on the court, valuing the battle over the outcome. That was really beautiful moment for me. Now to the individuals who defined the sports narratives in 2025. It's time for male and female athletes of the year. We're not looking for those, trophy collectors, but those who really defined excellence, carried the weight of expectations, and even reshaped their sports. So, Tianyu, who would be your picks, and what kind of achievements or stories that set them apart?
Well, yeah, starting with the female athletes, I think I'll go with Arina Sabalenka. Because, I mean, on paper, it might have not been very dominant for her, the season for her. Because, I mean, she lost 3 major finals. And I still remember that epic battle between her and Coco Gauff in the French Open final. And yeah, well, but if you flip that around, I mean, making 3 major finals in a single year is already incredible itself. If you add that with 2 WTA 1000 titles and successfully defending her US Open title, I think you're looking at someone who's been incredibly consistent throughout the whole year. For the male athlete, I think this was tougher because, I mean, I was thinking about Carlos Alcaraz, but I have to say his main rival, Yannick Sinner, has also been consistent and high level for the whole year. So it's honestly really hard to separate them. After thinking about it, I'm going to go with Ousmane Dembele. 2 years ago, if you told me Dembele is going to win the Ballon d'Or, I would have probably laughed because at that time, he's better known for inconsistency, his lack of discipline, and his addiction to video games. But now here we are. I mean, he's won everything with PSG and also lifted the final trophy for him. I think his story is really about growth, self-discipline, because he turned his career around. He stayed focused, stayed healthy, and just became the best male footballer of the year. So I think it's a real prodigal son's return story. And his story actually serves as a powerful lesson for the younger generation players. He told us that talent alone isn't enough. I mean, if you stay disciplined and you take your profession seriously, you can completely rewrite your story.
Yeah, we spent 2 episodes on Ousmane Dembele this year. That just tells how remarkable his story, his redemption story is in 2025. Brandon, your choices?
Yeah, look, on the international stage, I think there's so many. I think Tianyu's mentions there are very apt. I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander also had an incredible year in the NBA. I think that he also deserves a lot of credit for, OKC's success and, what he was able to do as an individual and also, again, uplifting the respect that foreign-based players in NBA have. I know like Canada's not too far from the States, but, it still is I think a huge impact from players like him that have really transformed the way that the world and American fans and American athletes view the NBA. The fact that it's now become this really a lot more global league, I think has been incredibly important. And I think Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is a fantastic example of that. But yeah, finals MVP, adapting to the rules of the NBA really well, really dividing fans, in good ways and bad ways, and really being a conversation topic that revolves around the sport. I think, yeah, one of the most influential figures that we've seen in the NBA and talked about figures in the NBA for quite some time. So an amazing year for him. And then Simone Biles, I know that it was the year before, but what she was able to do at the Olympics and solidify her place as the greatest, arguably, I would say, fairly accurately, could potentially go down as the greatest gymnast of all time. Those are probably the 2 international standouts for me. And yeah, I agree, Tianyu, the tennis that we saw this year, on the men's and women's side, but I think particularly on the men's side between Sinner and Alcaraz, I think that's also going to be something that, we take away from 2025, but also going into the future, because I think we've also mentioned in so many past podcasts how we were desperate to see the level of competition in tennis rise again and, create some fierce rivalries that we've seen in the past. And I think that the rivalry that we will see between Sinner and Alcaraz going forward is going to be so interesting to watch. purely because of the level of competition, but also the different style of play, the different looks of the athletes, the different approach of the athletes. I think that's what makes rivalry in sport very exciting is when you've got two high-level competitors that are completely different. And I think we are going to have that in Alcaraz and Sinner going forward. So yeah, those are just a couple of names that come to mind in terms of men and women.
Right. I would personally give my vote to Armand Duplantis for the male athletes of the year because I don't see another athlete who dominated his sport like him, breaking the world record 4 times in 1 year. It's just crazy. And Arena Sabalenka for the female athlete of the year. I really like how she overcame early setbacks in the beginning of the year, believed in herself, and fought to win the US Open, her 4th Grand Slam title. That's very inspiring. All right, before we move on, here's a quick review of the biggest sports headlines in China and around the world for the past week. David Neres scored twice as Napoli claimed a 2-0 win over Bologna, lifting their 3rd Italian Super Cup. Napoli head coach Antonio Conte couldn't hide his excitement after the win.
And Saudi was really good for us. I enjoyed a lot, but not only me, but I think also the players, the group of Naples, because we worked very well.
With the victory, Napoli now has 3 Supercoppa Italiana titles, joining their wins in 1990 and 2014. Harry Kane has reached 100 Bundesliga goal contributions in just 78 games during Bayern Munich's 4-0 win over Heidenheim.
Extremely proud, obviously. Look, I don't focus too much on these things, but when they happen, I just look forward to bringing on the next one. So let's see how quick we can get the next 100.
The victory sends Bayern into the winter break with a commanding 9-point league lead. Liverpool forward Alexander Isak has undergone surgery after suffering a fracture to his left leg. The club has not provided a timetable for his return, but the Swedish is expected to be sidelined for at least several months. Santos forward Neymar has successfully undergone surgery to repair a torn meniscus in his left knee, aiming to play at the World Cup next year. Earlier this month, Neymar revealed he had been playing with injury during the second half of the 2025 Brazilian season, but chose to play through the pain to help Santos avoid relegation. Real Madrid and Lyon have agreed that the Brazilian striker Endrick will spend the second half of the season on loan at Ligue 1 club. Lyon will pay around €1 million for the loan, but there's no option to make the move permanent at the end of the season. In badminton, French shuttler Christophe Popov has made history by becoming the first French player to win the men's singles title at the BWF World Tour Finals in Hangzhou. The 23-year-old defeated defending champion Shi Yuqi of China in straight games.
Yeah, I'm happy to, I didn't stop or give up at any moment, and I'm so happy about the effort and the energy I put on court, and I'm really looking forward to have some rest and just take care of the body as well, because it's been a long tournament and a long year.
In the women's singles final, South Korea's An Se-yeon defeated Chinese defending champion Wang Zhiyi in 3 sets to claim her 11th title of the season. American teenager Lina Tian is the winner of the next-gen ATP finals in Saudi Arabia, defeating Alexander Blocks in straight sets. This victory marks a sweet redemption for the 20-year-old Tian, who was last year's runner-up. It caps a breakthrough 2025 season where he won his first ATP title and soared to a career-high ranking. Welcome back. Now shifting to China, 2025 was another pivotal year in Chinese sports. Chinese hopeful Yang Hansen entered the NBA for a major breakthrough in Chinese basketball. Veteran 100-meter sprinter Su Bingtian retired from athletics, leaving with an almost untouchable Asian record. Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau hosted the first national games across 3 regions. Suzhou, the provincial football league in Jiangsu, ignited football passion across the country, with many other provinces now following suit. So there are countless stories that moved us or inspired us in China in the past year. So Tianyu, beyond medal counts, which storylines truly captivated the whole nation and you in the past year?
So for me, I think it has to be Zhao Xintong become Asia's first world snooker champion. I mean, winning 9 matches in a row, from the qualifying rounds all the way to the final. And that included beating the 7-time champion Ronnie O'Sullivan and in the semis, and then a dominant win over Mark Williams in the final. That was an epic battle. I think just like Ding Junhui once inspired Zhao, his breakthrough will now inspire countless new generation Chinese snooker players. It will inspire them to aim higher and just to make a mark in international stage.
Right. Brandon, what for you was the most significant chapter written in Chinese sports in the past year?
I think the national games, particularly where it was hosted, across Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau, featuring record participation and, just an immense display of what is possible in terms of hosting a sporting event, on a national level. It can be as big as something as like the Olympics. I think the national games was a fantastic example of that. And I think one of the standout moments that I think was quite emotional, and this is an individual that we spoke about, Su Bingtian's farewell. I think that was something immense that I'm sure plenty of Chinese fans will remember for quite some time. And I think, with endings come beginnings, right? So a lot of emerging stars are now coming through that are hopefully going to dominate for China as international events come along. I think some of the sports that we've been talking about, diving and swimming and, a couple of those other sports, I think that's also going to be quite exciting going forward. I know in the last podcast where we spoke about the national games, there were some incredibly young swimmers and divers that are coming through. And then I think for us as basketball fans, I think the Yang Hansen story is just kind of beginning.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be exciting to watch going forward. It was a big moment for 2025 because, of course, whenever a Chinese player gets drafted into the NBA, it's quite a big deal. And of course, there's always, comparisons to past stars that have made it in the NBA, like Yao Ming, who has gone on to be, one of the best players in NBA history. And no pressure on Yang Hansen's shoulders, but there's always going to be that spotlight. That's something that I really want to watch going forward because obviously, I'm a big NBA fan, and I think that there is great potential there for Yang Hansen to go on to have a really successful NBA career. So yeah, I think that's going to be something to watch going forward. There's going to be a lot more to look out for going into the new year from relatively unknown stars in China that I think are going to become global superstars very, very soon. And I think my bet is that the next big superstar is probably going to emerge from the swimming pool. I think that we are going to see some incredible performances in LA from some Chinese swimmers.
Right. Talking about bets, let's end this episode on a forward-looking and fun note. Can you give us one bold, specific, and maybe slightly bizarre prediction for the year of 2026 in sports? It could be an underdog winning it all. It could be, a record that would be shattered or a remarkable comeback win. So Tianyu, what's your ultimate guess?
Well, ignore the betting odds or the logic. I probably say Aston Villa wins the Premier League title. It sounds wild. I mean, yeah, but look at what they are standing right now. They are right up there, only 3 points off Arsenal. And their star player, Morgan Rogers, is on fire. And their head coach, Unai Emery, has this special ability to turn this, so-called weaker teams into a real title contender. I mean, if that really happens, it would feel like another Leicester City miracle. And moments like these are just why we watch sports in the first place.
Okay, don't take me around, but are you out of your mind? Not in 1 million years.
We'll see about that.
Brandon, any bold predictions from your side? Well, I had one, but I'm now looking at I think I'm going to change it. I'm looking at the Premier League table now, and it is tight, man. It's 36 Villa, 37 City, and 39 Arsenal.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think the Aston Villa prediction is very, very bold. I don't know if they can, but yeah, as a United fan, I can tell you that Rodgers is in extremely good form. I don't know if you saw the last game against Villa and United. But City and Erling Haaland, I think they are making Arsenal quiver in their boots. And I think that they are going to turn things around. And I think Arsenal are going to stumble at the final hurdle again. And I think City are going to steal the title. I think it's going to be an interesting race between those three. And who knows, even, Chelsea and Liverpool could turn things around. What, 29 points? It's not that big of a gap. So the Premier League title race, I think, is going to be possibly more exciting than we've seen it be in at least the last 2 or 3 seasons. But if I had to make a prediction there, I think Arsenal are going to stumble and City are going to claim another title.
How about Villa?
City's a safer choice,
It's
obviously.
honestly, it's possible.
Yeah.
Their last 5 games, 5 wins.
Yeah.
They are silently doing some incredible things in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in this
Makes
case,
sense.
I'm with Brandon. All right. My
Let's
bold
see.
prediction is that Jan Hansen will surprise everyone in the NBA
Yeah.
in the next season.
Yeah.
We will see about that. Okay, with that, we end this episode of Sideline Story. Thank you so much for joining us. Subscribe to Sideline Story and leave your comments wherever you listen to podcasts. For more information, you can also check our website at radio.cgtn.com. Until next time, stay on Sidelines with us.